go. The brand bite. Christina Flynn coming to you every day here, dropping some bombs.
That was a good one. That was real good. I like that one.
Thanks.
That resonated with me. Bam. Let's go.
All right.
Tell Regina to chill out.
Tell Regina to chill the fuck out.
And Cosmic has a little different point of view. Cosmic, where are you? Cosmic, I'm going to tell you something, pal. I love your point of view. And I'll tell you why. Because that's what we invite here in the lab, different points of views, right? So you may not agree with what Regina was saying, which is awesome. I still welcome your point of view. So please bring those comments to the floor. And Arm, shut the fuck up, Regina George. Yeah, hey, it's Morning Loop Reloaded. Yep, the bagpipes are up. And we got Richie Rich Ingram. He's going to tell us a little bit about an adventure he was on over the last couple of weeks. Him and I were talking over the last couple of days over, and he's been dropping some nuggets. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So we're going to learn about that. Then we're going to go to the in the gym segment. We're going to talk about lower body workouts with John and Marty, and Rich is going to join that conversation as well. And then we're going to community corner, creator spotlight, and then of course wrap up with some business and branding. What a great chat we had with Dr. MC. Man, we talked about how to unlock your full potential. We moved into the bedroom, gentlemen. So if you missed the last 50 minutes of the first hour, we talked about how to perhaps look at performing. No, don't use the word perform. How to perhaps spend more intimate time with your partner and get out of your brain.
It's a good audible, brother. Good audible.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was a good vulnerable chat here.
Good job, Keith.
Thanks, brother.
Great job.
Thank you. Yay! Uncle Keith did a solid here for all of us here. But let's go to Richie Rich. We got Rich here joining us here today. We got Rich joining us once a week. We got to get him around a little more, I think. But Richie, you did something. A buddy of yours who I know we're going to have on the show in a couple weeks. But Rich, I'm not going to set it up, man. What the hell did you guys do?
Man, so it was my buddy that did it, right? I was just there to assist, but it was a 2-mile run out in the Moab Desert. And yeah, so it's a multi-day event. And I did about 80 miles with him, so I was a pacer. So I did 2 stints. I did 1 stint of 50 and then another stint of 30. And man, and look, going into this thing, because I signed up, I'm scheduled to do a 200-miler in Lake Tahoe next year. And I was like, I'm drawn to the 100, not the 200, because you run a lot more of a 100-mile run.
Hold on, Richie. When are you doing that? When are you doing that Tahoe runs? I'm gonna see if I can get up to my cabin in Tahoe so I can check this thing out. When is it? What month?
Okay, so it's June, but I'm deferring to 2026 because I actually want to somewhat compete.
I don't give a damn. I'll still have it in 2026. I want to be there when you do this, man. That's awesome,
man,
brother.
dude. I'm telling you, look, this thing is just. It was one of the best. Even though I wasn't a racer, I was a pacer. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and it brought back the military, right? Because you don't know when your guy's going to come in. And so for Thomas, let's say I think he did it. He did it in under 90 hours. Like he was a top 20 finisher. I think he ended up getting 17th. But man, you in this particular race, at one point you're running in the desert. A lot of people do not finish because they ran out of water in the desert. No shade, and you're running 17 miles in that particular stint. But then towards the end of the race, you're above 10,000 feet of elevation. So it is just a monster. But like these guys, you literally normally for the first night, you don't sleep. Okay. So the first night, you don't
I was going to say, because I'm wondering, so everybody else got to be 1 or 2. There's got to be some sleep in this. Is it you go to sleep a little bit? Holy shit.
Yes. So it works differently for different people, right? And in your training, if you've never done an overnight run, like you got to do that just to know, are you going to have a witching hour, which is normally like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, right? But most people will stay awake. They'll run through the night. And then the second night, depending on where they come in at the aid station, because that's another thing. You have to strategically plan this. When are you going to come into an aid station? Because ideally, you want to try and sleep when you would be asleep in a regular circadian rhythm. And so the second night, you'll sleep a lot of people sleep 2 to 3 hours, right? And so you sleep 2 to 3 hours. And then depending on the next night, how many days the event is, you'll sleep the next night too. But also when you're running, for example, Thomas and I were running and he just turned around and he was like, dude, I need to take a nap. And literally there's these huge fucking rocks and he just laid flat down on them. He was like, all right, man, I'm going to take a nap for 15 minutes. I set my alarm and it started going off. He was like, all right, let's fucking go. And so you take a little you'd be amazed at even 2 hours. Right? 3 hours, what that would do to you. Because I guarantee you, after you run 150 miles, 3 hours of fucking, so you've never slept so deep in your life, right? Like you're getting a fucking reset. And so there was a lot of that. But man, when we were in the desert, for me, I didn't have any gaiters, which like covers up your shoes and everything. And so I had a lot of sand getting in my shoes. And man, my toes were just scrunched up because I had so much sand in my shoes. I told my buddy, I was like, dude, my blisters are so bad. I don't know if I can do the second stint, but we had this amazing guy. We brought a medic with a nurse with us and just completely, I feel like, did surgery on my feet where I was able to show up for my buddy for that last 30. But dude, you talk about a mental piece. My buddy, and I don't want to take this story away from him too much, but there was a time where he had to run with his junk outside of his shorts. And you talk about how poor mentally.
What was the purpose?
Shaped.
And clearly he was doing what he's got to do. Why was he having to pull his stuff out and run? Clearly he's doing whatever he's got to do. What was the reasoning?
Shaped so badly.
Oh, no shit. So he just pulled it out and it felt better outside the drawers than inside the drawers. Holy shit.
Just pulled it out and kept going. And I'll tell you, this dude's so tough. He was my college roommate and just a tough guy. But one time, all of a sudden he stops and he just starts vomiting standing up. And he turns around and he looks at me because, you know, in the Army, we always say hua, or some people do. We always like made fun of the word hua. He turns around after he's vomiting, he goes hua, and then he just vomits some more. And he's like, all right, let's go. And took off. Only stopped to puke and kept going. And look, these are some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet in the world because this is a lifestyle. To train for that, what MC was saying, it's all about the process. The product is just the cherry on top. Whether it works out or not, it's the process that really matters. And the amount of training that you have to do that, it is a fucking grind. It's a lifestyle.
You know what I find so fascinating about this? Hold on, Johnny and Marty. What I find fascinating about this is how selfless Richie's experience is. Because this isn't Richie's race. Richie was seeing this guy. So it's like, hey, John, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know, I got this with Terry. Hey, would you mind running 80 miles with me and pace me? Oh, yeah, sure. Just think about this. So Rich is like just selflessly just hang out with his buddy and go and help him achieve his big goals.
That's the point about it not being a product, right? There's no product for you at the end of that, Rich. You're just like, I'm in it for my boy, and I'm sure he's going to be there for me when I need it.
I love it.
Exactly. Like he'll probably end up pacing me at Tahoe for my 200 miler. And at the end of the day, I was telling my coach because another guy asked me to crew him, another one of my buddies. So he's doing it's called Last Man Standing. So this is coming up in about a week and a half. And it's where you have a 4-mile loop and you have to do one loop every hour on the hour. And it's whoever the last fucking man's still going wins the race. And so he asked me, he was like, dude, I know I'm going to start getting tired. Can you be there for me to fill my bottles? And I was like, dude, I fucking got you. And I told my coach, I was like, hey, I picked up another crew. And I was like, for me, any fucking day around in the ultra environment around other ultra runners is a great fucking day. I don't have another race coming up until I have a PK coming up in January, and then I have, which is more like a B race. You know, I have my next A race in April. Dude, I'm here, man. So if anybody listening needs a pacer, I might need you to pay my way. I've been spending a lot of money getting to places, but I'm there for you, man. I fucking love it.
That's unreal. Johnny, when I heard Richie talking about him running with his junk out, I couldn't help but think of you because you have said so many times that you am willing to do something nobody else is willing to do. And to hear you comment on what Richie said, that's just normal for you, isn't it, John? Because you're like, no, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do.
I just was curious, what was the motivator? Clearly he did it because he needed to do. If he needed to do what he needed to do, what was the reason? But yeah, I was interested why, but it made a lot of sense. Here's the thing. Obviously, I'm not a runner like this, but I've been at the highest level of a few different venues. When it comes down to it, to get there and to exist there, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done and stay there. And you can't have limitations on yourself. You can't say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I won't do that. Like eating an egg in a shell, it doesn't even fucking enter the question of why. This is just part of this. It's not a big deal. And your mind is trained to just do. And when you get there, it's pretty amazing because what you can do with that mindset in your life is it's unbelievable.
I like that actually because it relates very much to even our show today about how to unlock, how to be mindful and unlock your full potential. It really comes down to, in many ways, doing something that somebody is not comfortable doing.
Yeah, 100%.
So Rich, what was your buddy's name? Bobby, right?
Thomas.
Thomas, yes. So I'm not sure how many other men on that journey ran with their nuts hanging out, but I'm suspecting not many, Rich.
But everybody had their own race, right? Going into this, whether it's 100 miles, maybe even a 50K, there are going to be things that pop up that are going to be uncomfortable. So, and I'll never forget, I was doing a 50 miler and my knee, I was hopping this motherfucker. And a girl comes by and she's like, "Hey, Rich, how you doing?" And I was like, "Man, my fucking knee." And she was like, "Just remember, nobody has a good race, or nobody has a perfect race. It's all in how we deal with it." And I took that as shut the fuck up to myself, right? Nobody is running a perfect race. So whether you got to pull your fucking dick out or you got to hop, you do what you got to do. Because John said, man, once you've done the process so many times, quitting never even enters your mind. If you have to do, not even possible, it is just moving forward is the only option. And I'm going to tell you, one of the toughest things about running 200 miles is the sleep. So when you get to 200 miles, look, dude, you're in fucking zombie mode. So if you're not trained to continue, you're going to start telling lies to yourself, because we all know lack of sleep, that's where shit starts to fuck with you. And you're not getting sleep. So you have to be prepared to go into that, to say, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep moving forward. And that's it.
And the thing is, I had mantras that I would tell myself. And you've heard me say them here. I would tell myself, I'm willing to do what everyone else won't do. And I believe that, and I'll do it. And I tell myself, look, you're going to have to break some fucking eggs to make an omelet. Meaning, yes, you're going to hurt yourself. Yes, this is not considered healthy, but yes, this was the choice I made. And fuck yes, I'm going to break some eggs. Question is, what are the eggs going to be? Is it another joint? Is it another muscle? You don't care. You made the choice. Fucking get it done.
I love both this show and the people that I meet and the stories that we're telling, because it's easy to read things or hear anecdotes of people. But then when Marty, we spend enough time with Johnny and you hear the things that he's had to achieve greatness, and it's had to eat the eggs. And then you talk to Rich, and Richie talks about the things that he does with Thomas, and you quickly recognize that, gentlemen, if you're tuning in right now, you got to find a way to do something that nobody else is going to do if you really want to achieve greatness. There's no rocket science beyond that, is there, Johnny or Richie? There is none. There's no rocket science.
And part of that is having the fucking nuts, having the tenacity, having whatever you want to call it, to fucking show up and never miss what you got to do. That's the baseline for the whole thing. That builds your confidence to know that when push comes to shove, you will literally break your back. I've done that. I've ruptured multiple discs in the middle of a deadlift to get a fucking point in a contest.
Jesus. All right. We are hanging out with Rich, John, Marty, producer Flynn, Richie Grit Store, man. We're going to keep coming back and learning. I'm fascinated by the whole endurance athlete mindset you guys do. Like, honest to God, like just this whole, I'll come pace you for 80 miles. All right, sure. Let's do that. Me and Flynn are going to get off stage.